listening to Saladin Kunaya Allah. This is Asia Talk Radio.
Peace and welcome to Atlantis Build Talk Radio, the premier station for 5% of Nation of Gods and Earth social commentary, interviews, musicology, and uncensored discussions about the science of everything in life. This station is a subsidiary of Asia and the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters at www.atlantischool.blogspot.com and Asia TV at YouTube/Quanaya, QUANAAH.
So when we say, that the original man is God, we're saying that he's the first to do, whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like the maker, the owner, the cream, father, civilization, God of the universe, right? And so it's like you have other people that make things and own things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That aren't the original man, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that he's the first to do that, right? And that's what makes him the God. And so it's like,
you think sometimes that people deny the capacity of others to do? You know what I'm saying?
Well, because they don't know the capacity of their own self. So it's like sometimes you got to deny the capacity of others. So these whole terms that we say, like drawing a woman up to her fullest equality, right? That statement in itself is 100% right and exact. The context in which most people view that in is not. And what I mean by that is when you would ask somebody, well, what does that mean, draw her up to their fullest equality?
Yeah.
They'll take it to the build degree in the 1 to 40 before they take it to the equality degree in supreme mathematics. Where you're dealing with two separate things there. In the build degree, in the 1 to 40, you're dealing with a limitation. But when we dealing with supreme mathematics, equality ain't limited. And we say, what do we say equality means? I don't care where you got this knowledge from. You know equality is to want for your brother what you want for yourself, right? That's a national consensus, right? We all could agree with that, right?
Yeah.
So if your equality with your black woman is to not want for her what you want for yourself, what are you really doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you got a healthy, strong, and good breeder, or do you got a healthy, strong, and good builder? Because there's a difference. So if it's like if you're teaching a woman just to be a breeder, we already know in that wisdom build degree that time is going to expire, right? That's going to expire, right?
Yeah.
But if you're teaching her to be a healthy, strong, and good builder, that's not going to expire. That's gonna be infinite, and it's gonna just like when we talking about that build or destroy, that letter 8, that infinity. You know what I mean? She's gonna keep doing that and doing that and doing that and doing that.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you just teaching her in the sense of like, oh, she's a breeder, and she's, you know what? They are right. She is limited to what they could do. You know what I mean? For real.
Yeah.
Limited to what they could do. So if they say my woman can't do this, and that, it's because they can't do this, and that. And I'm reflecting you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm reflecting you. So it's like when they do say that, when you do have some brothers that build like that, I'd be like, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because he's talking into regards of his own self.
True indeed.
He's talking about his own self. So it's like, okay, that's peace, God. I don't have anything to say about it.
Yeah. What has been like your experience with teaching Sisters 120? Have you got some resistance or brothers challenging just that notion that you have the
people
capacity?
challenge that notion. They don't say nothing to me. Nobody's never said anything to me.
Mm.
You know, I know that exists, you know, where people think that a woman can't do that. You know, I know that idea exists, but those people don't say anything to me. They don't say anything to me. I built for this flag just like they did, and we, you know, if you feel like I'm not qualified for this flag, you know what you could do about it, because nobody's above examination.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you feel like I'm not qualified for my flag, you could come check me on that. But usually those brothers don't have any grounds to try to check me. I don't teach the black woman is God. I don't teach the black woman is a goddess. I don't teach that the black woman is Allah. I don't teach any of those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to attack me on? I teach the black woman is earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I teach.
Mm-hmm.
So now what are you going to attack me on?
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I learned 120 to teach 120.
Mm-hmm.
But also, the thing is too, is that, like, I knowledge 120 when I was 15, right? It was knowledge power, it was insightful wisdom, right?
Yeah.
So I'm learning 120 from 13 to 15 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all the people that I had guiding me into knowledge in 120, from my father to my other mentors, they weren't prepping me to be some man's wife. How sick is that? You're not prepping no 13-year-old girl to be a wife or to be a earth. They was teaching me how to be a warrior and how to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
All my brothers that I was around, all my brothers that I'm still close with, that's what they were guiding me and mentoring me to be, a warrior and a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I got it young. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, when you getting it older, women who are getting this in their 20s and their 30s, nobody's going to teach you how to be that anymore. They're just going to teach you how to be their woman. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that's not how I got it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that that's not how I got it. And so I could only give it how I got it, you know?
Mm-hmm. What has been like your experience in terms of teaching women? Not just teaching them general civilization. I'm talking about teaching them 120.
Only 3 of them made it. You know, what I mean by made it is that they knowledge 120 and they're still adding on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what I, you know, a lot of times people fall off, you know, 1 to 14s, 1 to 40. I had a few of those.
They be hitting them mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. And I recently switched it up. I said I'm gonna do the 1 to 14s first now. Before the 1 to 36, because it's like, man, if you're gonna fall off, let me know now. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't wanna wait, you know? Yeah. I'd rather just know, you know, because that 1 to 10 and that 1 to 36 is so easy, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's filled with a lot of information and it's filled with a lot of history and things. I found myself lately in the 1 to 36 heavily, like as far as in regards to my life now, you know. I find myself a lot in the 1 to 36, like, oh man, that's the 1 to 36, oh man, you know. But you know, as far as memorization, those 2 degrees are easy. And you'll start seeing people fall off once we getting into them paragraphs. You know, it's like, 1 to 14. It's like you get paragraph, you know? Yeah. And that's when, and then also too, with the 1 to 14, you covering a very broad span of history. Now we're going to see how studious you are. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now that's, you know, you're literally going from you know, from Columbus to Jesus. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, it's like, oh, you know, now we're gonna see how studious you are, from Masonic orders and, you know, all kind of geography. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna pull out a map dealing with that 1 to 14 for sure. You know, and Yeah, so you're going to see how studious a person is. And so, like, now I'm like, I'm going to teach the 1 to 14.
In addition to that, is there something that you learn through experience that you're like, okay, I want to do this differently now?
Yes, 100%. So, well, when I first knowledge 120, I wanted to teach everybody 120, but it wasn't really about them. I wasn't really trying to give them anything to better their life. So when I learned my lessons, it was kind of like, you know, there was this emphasis on being able to teach somebody, you know? And so I got so caught up in that really most of the people that I was encountering, I just wanted to validate myself for my ability to teach, you know? And then as I got older, I didn't care about that anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that, like, the earths that I'm teaching now, I think they have getting a more pure version of the culture because it's not ego driven. And everybody that is a teacher goes through that. Everybody that's a teacher goes through that. And so now I don't care about teaching anybody 120 because I only want to teach teachers 120. So it's like, in my mind, if I don't know 100% that you're going to teach it, I don't want to teach it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And so the funny part is I had this bill with Janati the other day because she asked me what made me know or what made me sure about teaching her 120. Because she asked me to teach her 3 times. I denied her twice. Okay? I told her no twice, right? The 3rd time she asked me, I told her yeah. And then I only gave her mathematics and alphabet. Right? And maybe the science of the flag. It was something else, you know? Of course she, you know, did her fasting and, you know, all that. But she only got a few things from me. And then when she wanted to start to study 120, I said to her, you got to write me an essay on why you want to learn 120. Right? It was about 3 pages long, you know? And I didn't tell her this until recently, until she asked me the other day. I didn't tell her this. But in my mind, I said, if in that essay, she does not say she wants to learn 120 to teach it, I am not going to teach it to her. That had to be somewhere in the essay. In those words, you understand? That I want to be able to teach this to people.
Yeah.
So I made that up in my mind. When I read that essay, that was in it. Probably one of the first things mentioned, that she wanted to be a teacher. She wanted to be a builder, right? And so when she asked me, and this was literally maybe a week or 2 ago, she asked me, you know, I said, remember when I had you write that essay? And she said, yeah. I said, you know why I had you write that essay? And she's like, no. You know, maybe she just thinking I want to gauge her sincerity, which was partially it, but it didn't matter how sincere she was in that paper if she didn't write she wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I told her, you know, I was like, yo, basically, if you didn't write in that essay that you had planned to be a teacher, I wasn't going to teach you this. Because that was 100% stressed from everybody that I got this knowledge from. Everybody that I had walked this path with. From my father, God, understanding, born of law. My father gave this knowledge to me. My family tree go back to Allah Real. My father was taught by True King. True King was taught by Allah Real. From Firstborn Prince, I got my first copy of 120 from. You know what I mean? And so many other gods, you know, that are like my brothers and still my brothers today. They all took personal time out for me to be a teacher. I was not being groomed to be somebody's woman. I was being groomed to be a warrior and a teacher.
Yeah.
Nothing else, you know? And that's not saying being somebody woman isn't important. It's very important. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I'm 13, 14, 15 years old. Nobody was grooming me at 13. That's pedophilia. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Nobody was grooming me at those ages to be that. Mm-hmm. They were grooming me at those ages to be a builder and to be a warrior. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. And so those are some of the things that I've learned. Like, for example, some things that I see that people know 120 now, but they don't know how to draw a crowd. Me and you could be in Kensington Market, right? You remember we was there? Mm-hmm. We just on the corner. We had a crowd. People don't know how to do that. Yeah. They don't know how to draw a crowd. They don't know how to build with the 85. Yeah. I learned how to do that while I'm knowledging 120. Like, I'm literally walking the streets with my elders, my brothers, my mentors, you know? And I'm literally learning these things. Mm-hmm. This is how you engage the 85%. This is how you talk with them. This is how you build with them. Yeah. You know? People don't learn that no more. All they learning is memorizing a bunch of stuff, and you don't really see a lot of teachers around. You
think the internet has some type of impact in the reason why some people might not be learning those traditional customs?
No. Some people say to me too, I'm going to tell you why I don't think that. People say, oh, you think that the internet, you think because of the internet, the media is more violent, or, you know, people are fighting more to put it on the internet? I'm like, no, people always been doing that. You just, the internet just shows you how much people been doing that. You know, now you get a front row seat to it. Yeah. There's always been corny people trying to be the 5%. The internet just shows you them now. You know, but they've always existed. You understand? Before MySpace and Black Planet, I promise you. Before the Yahoo group forums, you know, they've always existed. I think that it's a comfortable place for them because they ain't comfortable on the street. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But no, I don't think it adds to it. Yeah. They've always been, you know, they've always been. Because this knowledge is only enhances who you are. It cannot make you something different. It just enhances who you are. So unfortunately, like, if you was corny in the dead world, you're gonna be corny in the living world. You know, like it just enhances who you are. Yeah. You know, that's all it does. You know, it brings everything out to the forefront. You know.
What's some of the things that you do differently now, too, in terms of teaching, as opposed to when you first got knowledge?
I focus more on the practicality of things, like, so, when I first learned 120, which, like, we're going on 17 years ago, 16 years ago, I focused more on knowing your lessons and being able to show and prove them, in the sense of, like, and what year was that, and what time was that, and what book can you reference that to? Now it's kind of like, where can I show and prove this in my life? What does that mean in my life? You know? And that's not to say that I still don't make my students research things, because that is very important. But it don't stop there. Now we got to dig for the understanding. So it's like, okay, so now that you know all about Palestine, and you know all about Jerusalem and the different tribes of people that live there, now what does that degree mean to you? You know what I mean? Now what does that mean to you? Yeah. When have people used you as a shield? Or when have you used others as a shield? You know, who was your Jesus growing up? You know what I mean? Because a lot of these kids now are not growing up religious. True. My students now are not growing up in Christians or Catholic homes. Yeah. So I can't take it to the Bible no more. You understand? Yeah. It's a different time now, right? Yeah. So it's like, yo, who was your shield? Who did you use to shield your dirty religion and the dirty things that you were doing? Let's talk about that. Or have you been used as a shield, right? Yeah. You know, so how can we apply this to our own self? And this is what I do with every single degree, because if somebody says to you, well, show and prove this, and you draw it up in regards to your own self, How can somebody tell you you're wrong?
Exactly.
That's your own personal life experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they would say? That's peace.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't say nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is how I see it
Yeah.
in regards to what I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what those lessons are used for. It's like, there's nothing, 120 is, there's nothing like it because it's covering such a enormous span of time. Most
Mm-hmm.
of it infinite, right? You can't even quantify it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we're saying God of the universe, right?
Yeah.
How do you even quantify that in time? Like,
Yeah.
you're dealing with an infinite concept, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's no really books like that are covering this span of time. And so it's like, now you have this book, you memorize these 120 lessons, and now you have these reference points to any point of time that you want to get to,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it helps more if you could take each of those degrees and apply that reference point to your own self.
Mm. Now, one of the things that I've heard some brothers say is when you look at 120, it's not many references to the original woman. Some sisters that I know, they don't see themselves in it, and it's not referencing the original woman, or there's only limited references to the earth. Even when you look at the knowledge degree in the 1 to 10s, who was the original man, some women look at that like it's not talking about them and it has nothing to do with them. So they may think that 120 may be patriarchal, or it may even be misogynistic because it's only emphasizing who the man is in reference to his position not only in the family but also in the world.
So it's like how I see that we could just build on the knowledge degree in a 1 to 10. And so it's who is the original man. Answer: the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the father of civilization, and God of the universe, right? And so when I see that degree, I see myself in it because it's letting me know the original man's position to me. You understand? And his duty and responsibility to me. And so I feel safe, nurtured, provided, protected. That makes me feel good. You know, to know that's your position.
Yeah.
It's like, word, maker, okay. Owner, all right. Okay. You know, like, that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because now, don't get me wrong. I understand what those women are talking about. I definitely have heard brothers build on that degree, or not even that degree, have heard men build on the lessons in a way that gives unimportance to women. But then it's like, if we take it back to that degree, if that's his position, in regards to who? You understand?
Yeah.
Is he the maker and brother of his Aeolites? You understand? Like, that's his position in regards to me. You understand? His responsibility and duty to me. You understand? And that's very powerful.
Yeah.
That's very powerful, you know? Because when you're talking about God, you're talking about the most merciful, right? And that's what it's showing. It's showing a form of compassion unto me as his woman, you know? And so, for me, that feels good, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel very sad for women who feel that way, or even I sympathize to them. They talk that way, and that only makes me more grateful that I got it from my father, because I understood it, you know, from that position. Like, it was like, wow, this is what the black man is for me, right? You come on, maker, owner, cream, father. These are all positions, right? To who? The maker of what? The owner of what? The cream of what? The God of what? You know, these are all positions, you know, unto me and unto the universal family, me and the children.
True indeed.
You know, you're stating what your position is unto your earth and your stars. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And why wouldn't a man want to be that? And why wouldn't a woman want a man that's gonna be that? You know?
That's important because, like you said, with the degree, sometimes a person can't really see themselves in it. And really, that's why it may not have much significance to them. It always baffles me when I hear people that may have gotten tuned with the lessons and they say stuff like, I don't deal with them lessons no more, or I outgrew them lessons. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, well, what are your reference points in terms of reality? You know, what lessons are you using to share with you principles and values and how you guide not only yourself, but your family and other members of your community? Or what lessons specifically don't you agree with no more that don't have no meaning? Because just how you broke that knowledge degree down, at what point would a person not want that type of relationship? And if they have gotten to that point, what were some of those experiences that led you to start seeing that you don't want that anymore? Or what men have let you down to the point where you don't feel as if you can see a man in that capacity? You know, one of the things I think about a lot is just from stuff that you were sharing with me and then other sisters share with me, I was not even aware that on social media, women will say stuff like, dudes be getting in their inbox. I did not know, like, dudes be just like randomly calling you, like inboxing you pictures and just like harassing you. I did not know like that exists.
This one brother kept hitting me up and he's like, oh, we have a lot of mutual friends in common. I'm like, okay. And I don't use my social media. If I'm friends with gods and earths on social media, it's because I actually know them. I've walked with them. I've talked to them. They've been to my home. I've been to their home. I'm not all, oh, your last name is Allah, your last name is Earth, you my friend. I'm not with none of that, you know? And so, you know, he's in my inbox like, yeah, you know, we can know a lot of mutual friends. I was like, well, all the gods that you're friends with, those are my brothers or my uncles or, you know, people that raised me or, you know, so if you know them, why don't you have them introduce us? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have them introduce us, you know? Because outside of social media, that's how this culture goes. Especially when you're dealing with the elders, right? You meet certain elders through people. You know, it's like you're not just gonna go and meet somebody. You're gonna be taken to that person.
Oh, true indeed.
Like how I met Life through you, right? I didn't just stumble upon Life. You know, you introduced us, right? Because that's how it goes. We have certain customs here where people think that they use this internet as a medium to bypass these certain customs, right? And so it's like, number one, I'm a woman. Number two, I'm a mother. I'm a builder. I'm the earth. Why are you in my inbox like this?
Yeah.
You know, the proper thing to do for any brother or God, you know, is to ask other gods you're friends with. Hey, do you know this earth? Oh, you know her? Oh, word, that's like your niece? Oh, that's your little sister? I'm interested in this woman. Because let me tell you something. When you can't do it that way, your interest is not a pure one. Okay? When you want to do it in a sneaky inbox way and it ain't through a mutual friend or it ain't at a rally or a public event, it's because your intentions lie somewhere different. And we could go back to that shield, you know, and that power degree, right? So now you're using Facebook to shield your dirty religion. You know what I'm saying? Which is called you lustful and a sex addict. Also to deceive everybody else so that they will believe in you, you know? And it's like, no, because one thing that I was taught, right, by my big brother, Dr. Akil, right? He will always be like, we don't fornicate. We don't do none of that stuff here. So it's like, if you're going to be with a God or earth, be with the God or earth. And one thing that I noticed is like people use that God or earth title to mean a lot of other things. Yeah. Boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, cut buddy. You know what I mean?
Now, is this something that you noticed when you were first getting knowledge, or is it something
I've always
that...
noticed it.
Okay.
I've always noticed it. Mm-hmm. It's like, or my favorite term, we building. I ain't building nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because when we talk about, a brother asked me before, he said, "You ever had a God?" And I said, "No." And then he said, "Wasn't you with that brother?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, that was your God." I said, "That was my boyfriend." And that's no disrespect, but we got to take it back to that knowledge degree, right? Maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, God of the universe. So it's like, you know, sometimes as God and as Earth and as enlightened people, we be in relationships with people, but that ain't our God. And that's not our Earth. You know, we need to stop using those terms like that, because God and Earth don't come together to do ordinary things. They come together to do extraordinary things. You understand? So if all you doing with a brother, or if all you doing is with a sister, is just the regular stuff that the 85 do, go to work, come home, food, clothing, and shelter, that's not God and Earth stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, God and Earth stuff is building. You know, it's collective, it's community, it's teaching, it's advocacy, it's all that and some, you know? And so it's like, yeah, I've dated one or two brothers that had knowledge of self, but I wouldn't really go as far to say as I had a God. Like, when I think of, like, who's my God, like, the first person that popped in my mind is still my father. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's still my father, because that's who had the most impact on me in that type of a sense, as far as, like, the knowledge is concerned, you know?
Yeah. I see it the same way in terms of, like, brothers that be talking about making a grown-ass woman they Earth. You know what I'm saying? It's like, to me, the Earths that you really grow and make from the beginning are your daughters. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And once they become of age and they're young women, and then they become women or adults, you ain't making them do shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not being able to make your own daughters do something, you definitely not making no grown woman do something. All you can do is respect who they are, where they're at in their growth and development.
And it's even, the thing is that you're not going to make a woman do anything, right? But it's even more beautiful when she is in accordance with you from her own will. Exactly. It's beautiful. Exactly. It's beautiful, and it's reassuring, you know? It's reassuring. It's like, she loves my culture. To have to, you know, to have to fight with a woman to wear a head wrap, or, you know, something like that. It's like, why would you even want that? Exactly. Why would you even want that? And then that kind of whole way of thinking puts you put a lot of imposters in this culture from that way of thinking, you know? So now you have taught her how to learn and do like me, but she's not me, you know? And she's very uncomfortable around women like me, you know? Because she just has the uniform, you know? Yeah. But then it's like, you know, when you start to asking these certain women kind of questions, you know, it's like, oh, that's... You know, they be having the universal flag on the gold chain and all that. Don't know one lesson, you know. It's like, oh, well, how you see, you know, this? And, you know, with a sister like me, like, that's not going to fly, because I built for my flag, you know. So now I'm going to start questioning you, because I want to know if you built for yours like I built for mine, because I built for mine, you know. Yeah. And that's important. Anybody that wears that flag is supposed to be built for that flag. Like, I have 3 babies born in this, and don't none of them wear that flag, because you have to build for that flag, you know? Yeah. And of course, the babies are the greatest, especially my babies are the greatest, but they have to know what I went through to wear that flag, you know? And that's the same. It means that you qualified to defend and build on these teachings. Exactly. That's what that flag means, you know? Maybe, you know, they could just get them like a nice little gold crescent moon or something like that, you know, but not the whole flag, you know? Yeah. You know, something like that. Yeah. I
mean, there's a lot of responsibility that not only comes with the flag, but the lineage that's connected to bearing that flag as well. You know what I mean? So when people know that you are their enlightener, you are their educator, it's like, oh, okay, I know they're going to be sharp. You know what I mean? So there's this level of expectancy or standard that a person upholds simply because you have shown and proven what this is about through the way that you walk and your reputation. You know what I mean? And that's one reason why when I see brothers or sisters like what you were saying earlier about expressing this knowledge from like an egocentric perspective, it's kind of like how many notches I can get on my belt, how many fruit that I say I can have. And it's like, yo, it's not about quantity, it's about quality relationships. You know what I mean? People that's gonna perpetuate this.
You know, I could say from all the people that I taught, I feel like I only got one solid relationship with one of them. And now two with Janati. Like I definitely, you know, have a solid relationship with her. But I think we all go through that ego, because like, come on, like there's no secret that is very much so stressed, that the quality of your teaching is measured by how many people you could teach, you know? And, you know, sometimes you have to be like, yo, each one teach one, but then you hear some people like, nah, each one teach 9, you know? Or something like that. Like, nah, you got to teach a lot of people, you know? And so I definitely had felt that, that type of pressure. And then also there was just a unique type of pressure with coming from being a young sister building and then knowing 120. And then it was kind of like I had to prove that I was, I guess, worthy. But also, you know, there was like, I remember there was times where some brothers was uncomfortable that I knew 120. But they didn't really say much to me, only because my affiliation and relationship with other brothers. But I could see it in their eyes and their demeanor, you know? Like they would say little slick stuff to me, like why a woman need to know how to make devil, you know? And all kind, you know? Little slick things like that, you know? And I could see I'm very good at reading emotions of people. You know, and I could see sometimes jealousy because, you know, certain elders definitely had an affinity towards me, you know, and a great love towards me. And I could see kind of like a jealousy, like, man, why they, you know? But nobody really challenged or said anything to me or said, oh, you can't teach anybody or anything like that. And I think because they also respect how I was being groomed in a sense. It's like, okay, she's a young sister and she's a builder, you know what I mean? And so it was like, what are you gonna tell a young sister that's 15? She needs a God? No, she needs an education. She needs to go to school. She needs to go to college, you know what I mean? And so thankfully that was definitely the love and support I had. Well, all my mentors I had, it was more so like, you know, what are you doing? You know, one of my, I say mentors, cause you know, like we say, you know, we have an enlightener, but I can't really even say, you know, I had so many great people who affected my life. And so this is the kind of love that I got from the gods. I feel bad for women who have those stories like, oh, I was with this God and he did this to me and he did that to me. But this is the importance of teaching women when they're young, because I got the best version of all the gods that I was around. Won't none of them trying to have sex with me or getting into my pants. They just wanted me to be a builder. They wanted me to be strong and they wanted me to be a warrior. And I think that I invoked that sense of fatherhood in them, even if they were just old enough to be my big brother. You know, it was kind of like, man, we got to watch out for her. She's a young woman. We got to protect her. We got to give her this knowledge, and we got to make sure she's great with her life, you know? And that's what they did for me. So it's like, for example, like I'll take wisdom because my name is Wisdom Beborn, right? So it's like when you take wisdom and you add the W and the I and the S and the D and the O and the M, right? You're going to get 83, right? And then 83, 8 plus 3 is 11. And then 11 borns 2. So wisdom borns wisdom, right? And so he taught classes on this. It was called the Supreme Mathematical Breakdown, where he would take all the mathematics and the alphabets and like break them down and then build on that, right? So it's like you taking that to wisdom. It's like, yo, you know, wisdom point 83, that's building the understanding. That's what you're doing when you're expressing your thoughts as a supply. Like you're trying to build an understanding for somebody else, because wisdom is the bridge, right? But you got to also make sure I'm building in your understanding that your word is your bond. That's that 11, you know what I'm saying? So you saying what you mean and you meaning what you say, and it's all going to go back to the wisdom, right?
True.
So it's like, you know, like little things like that. So I definitely learned how to be more like swift with my mathematics. But all my experiences was like that. Like he would just teach me how to speak to strangers on the train, you know. If a lady had a cross on, he'd be like, oh, you know, what's that mean? You know what I mean? Just start building with them about the cross, or, you know, about whatever, you know, significance or anything that they have felt that had. Maybe you drop a jewel to them. But the goal wasn't really to convince them or anything like that. The goal was to make them think. You know, about things that they never thought about before. You know, the goal wasn't really to try. But in that, you're sharpening your own sword. You know what I mean? And so I don't want to say people don't really do that no more, because the builders do that all the time. But sometimes when you're teaching this in an egocentric way, you're not really teaching people how to teach other people. You just want to teach somebody for your own self, you know? So they're not really learning those tools to how to, you know, teach other people. And I got those tools on how to teach other people. Like some things that were just common to us, like how do I'm not an MC, but I could draw a crowd, right? It's like some people will never know how to do that. And some people don't even know how good that feels. To draw a real crowd, I'm not talking about to draw a crowd of like-minded people. That's easy, to be at a parliament or a rally and just start building on something and everybody's like, true indeed, God, true indeed, earth. That's easy. But can you do that like on the corner?
Exactly.
That's hard. You know what I mean? That's hard. And it also, you have to be coming from a place of purity to do that too, you know, because people feel it when you feel sincere about what you're talking about, you know. But that's definitely 100%, like when I think about him, that's what I learned from him. I learned how to teach people in a very humble and selfless way. Servitude. Servitude. Yeah. That's what I learned. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Especially to be evidence of that. Of that lineage, that legacy. And that's one reason why I strive to document these stories, because there's a lot of people that may not get those type of stories or know some of these people on an intimate level, because we're getting people that's getting knowledge of self nowadays that
these people
only like, heard about Prince.
It's fictitious.
You know what I'm saying? So or El Jamel.
Or they're only hearing about the good things. So they're not really learning some lessons. Because a lot of those elders had their own unique stories and things that they suffered from and battled with. And we're doing a disservice on concealing those parts. Because that's where the real lessons lie, you know. And that's not things that I would speak so loosely or publicly about, but definitely I do speak about those things very intimately when I'm passing this knowledge down to my students. It's like, okay, listen, these were great people, but these are the things that they struggled with. Exactly. You know, because if you know what they struggle with, one, you could aspire to be great as well, you know, and two, you might find some comfort in your time of needs when you're struggling as well. You know what I mean? When we build about these people like they're superhuman and they didn't have no problems or anything that they struggled with, we're not giving the generations after us anything to aspire to. You know? And so if they know where our shortcomings are or our elders' shortcomings are, we're perfecting the ones after us by telling them that. And so, peace. That's another thing that I do different with the ERTs I teach now. I'm very transparent about my shortcomings. Whereas prior, I would try to come off very holy and know it all. And now I'm just like, yep, this is kind of like what I'm struggling with. Yeah. Don't be like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these are my problems. These are my issues. These are my flaws. Make sure you could correct them. You know what I mean? First of all, I don't want nobody worshiping me. You know? I don't want nobody worshiping me. I don't want nobody that I teach to idolize me. I don't want them to try to emulate me. I want them to be greater than me. I want them to be so much greater than me that there comes a point where I'm learning something from them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know?
They may not know. There's not people that come along every day that are truly interested in learning this culture in its totality for the purpose of teaching it to somebody else. We always come into contact with people that may see something that's an asset about how we live, and they may want to learn that small component of it, you know. But as far as somebody that's like, yo, I see you, and I want to learn what it is that you know because I want to teach it to somebody else, it's not often. And we're thrilled to have that opportunity because now we can walk with somebody from knowledge to born. And unless we just going through our lessons themselves, or we going through our lessons with somebody else, we're not necessarily going through lessons with another person that's learning. You know what I mean? And we get a fresh pair of eyes to go through them degrees again. You know what I mean? It's
like right now, I'm in my 1 to 36 and my 1 to 14s heavily, right? Janati is on the God degree in her 1 to 14, right? And every morning she calls me, and every morning we go through 120 as far as she could go through it, right? And like now, I'm like, man, like I'm super sharp on my degrees now. Yeah. Because the thing is that when people be like, oh, I gotta renew my history. No, you don't. You gotta teach somebody it. You know what I mean? If you feel this, oh, I gotta renew my history, you ain't been teaching nobody. Because that's how we renew our history, you know? By teaching somebody, not by sitting and opening this book and just or quoting it with your brother or your sister or something like that. No. You got to teach somebody. That's the most supreme and superior way of renewing your history is by actually teaching, you know? And so, man, like I feel so grateful for her. We go through these degrees every day. Every morning she hits me up and she's like, okay, I'm ready to go through my lessons. And I'm like, God, peace. And then she goes through them. And, you know, sometimes when you hear these degrees, it moves something in your heart and you go, hold on, I want to build on that. Let me build on that. Because now you correlating it to what you going through, right? Yeah. Like we were in the knowledge degree in the 1 to 14 heavily these past couple of days. You know what I'm saying? And just building on the things on our heart from there. You know, it's like, man, like why do I sometimes let the devil settle on my best part? You know what I mean? And dealing in those things and what we're going through in our life, what we're battling with, you know, in our life, you know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like the brother that I'm teaching right now, he's in his 1 to 10s, and you know I go through my lessons all the time, but just going through them with him, and he's wisdom. Knowledge years old, he's in college, and I could see myself in him so much, but it's more of a sense of like my exponential self, because he's much more aware at his age. He's much more exposed. For a matter of fact, his old dad was in the Nation of Islam.
Peace.
So he was exposed to some of these teachings when he was younger, you know what I mean? I love the fact that he engages me. And he asks me probing questions that encourages me to expound upon certain things. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times when a person is a student, they don't realize that they're giving you just as much life as you think that they're giving you. You know, it's a two-way street. It's not no one-way street. You know.
Yeah, like we, you know, like I remember I built with you a few weeks ago about how me and her were drawing up that, you know, from the knowledge to the understanding to the culture degree in the 1 to 14 and building on Mecca, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was just all from us building every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we going through these things and we're like, hold on, let's break out these maps and these calculators. And it's like, oh, okay. You know, and it's like where she makes me look at my lessons differently. You know what I mean? Because she's a different person than I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And another thing I appreciate about her a lot is that she's not one of those people that's just gonna take something because it sounds good for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And also she brings me to the edge of what I know. And that forces me to really study harder because I know knowledge is infinite, you know, and that's what she's supposed to be doing, you know. And so it's like there's sometimes when she asks me something that I tell her I don't know. But I'm not ashamed at not knowing because that just proves what we teach. Knowledge is infinite is real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how can we say knowledge is infinite, but you ask somebody and they know everything? It's like, nah, man, you don't really, you know, sometimes some people just have to, you know, add on or say something just for the sake of it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and then they want to draw it up all in some crazy way instead of just saying, yo, you know what? I really don't know. Let me. I'm not embarrassed to tell her. Let me get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Or I'm not even embarrassed to point her in a direct, like, yo, go build with Saladin about that. You know what? Go hit Asiatic up about that because, you know, especially when it comes to any sort of math. Go hit Asiatic up. Asiatic's very good at that. When it comes to any type of history, yo, go call Saladin and ask him about. I'm not embarrassed to say that, you know, because if I don't know, I don't know. I'd be more embarrassed to just razzle and dazzle her with my wisdom, you know, and be like, oh, you know, well, you know, that's because blah, 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 da, 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 da. You know, it's like that's, you know, some people are comfortable with doing that, you know, instead of just saying, yo, you know what, let me do the knowledge today. That was a good point. Thank you for making me think about that. I never thought about that way before. And that also now you're engaging the student and you're making them want to even study even harder.
And it's also encouraging and helping build their self-confidence because they're showing that they're also covering some terrain that you may have not covered. You know what I mean? So it's also building their capacity to share and add on. Because when I was studying with Von Leitner, man, when I met him in college, he wasn't even registered in school, but he's still attending classes just to study and shit. And I ain't talking about classes like aerobics or something like that or something. He's attending physics classes and stuff that you have to really study in just because he want to study. And he always carried a Ziploc bag with a cloth chessboard with chess pieces in it because he was studying to be a chess master. You know what I mean? So my relationship with him is I thought this dude knew everything. There wasn't a subject that I could bring up usually that he hadn't done some research or studied on. You know what I mean? And that can be very intimidating. And you not really having the self-confidence to feel as though you can share something with somebody that you think knows so much that you don't have any knowledge to add on to that cipher. So whenever you have an opportunity and you share something and they like, oh, that's peace, God. I never thought about that. That helps build your self-esteem and your confidence because it's like, oh, man, I actually was able to share something with this person that I already know is well studied. But this is a place in that terrain that they have not covered yet. And by them confirming that, it helps build your confidence and self-esteem. Like, oh, I can add on. I do have something to share. It's not just a one-way street. And that definitely helped build my self-confidence and self-esteem when it came to being able to build. Because for the most part, if he's building about something and he asking me, yo, add on, God. How you see that? I'm feeling like I don't really know what to say because, you know, and you're really uncomfortable. You're insecure. You know, you don't know like what to say. And when you're able to share something that help them see things in a different perspective and they acknowledge it, it's like, damn, I am growing. It's evidence of your growth and development because it shows that you have taken it to an uncharted region because they have not thought about that yet. They have not considered it. So you've moved beyond their perspective. It's evidence of that. And that is like, man, I remember the first time that I did that. And that is when I knew I was getting it. That is when I knew that I was really learning this culture. And the more that I begin to do it, the more I begin to develop my self-style wisdom, you know.
I think for me, especially with the sisters I build with, the first thing that I want them to know is that I'm human. The first thing. It's kind of like, tell me what you're embarrassed of your past or even your present, and I'll match you. You know, I don't play that holy game with them. Oh, I'm the super earth. I'm clothed up. You know, because then I would be shielding them from the process I took to get here.
Yeah.
This is the end result, and I'm not even close to where I want to be. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't want to shield them from that. And so, you know, there's a certain type of vulnerability that we have to exhibit with one another. And we have to be able to be honest about a lot of things. It's like with my students, like I'll tell them, you know, like my shortcomings and things that I've did or things that I've done, and they just be shocked, like, Wisdom, you
like
did
what?
those things. I'm like
yeah, right.
Yeah.
They will believe in that shit.
Yeah, you know, but the thing is that you make them feel comfortable, right? Because it's like, how can I help you if you're not really showing me who you are? So now,
exactly.
I can't help you if you're not showing me who you are.
Yeah.
But I have to show you who I was for you to be able to show me who you are, right? So now I'm going to have to tell you about how I messed around in the streets a little bit, or how I might have, you know, messed with a dude, this dude or that dude, or, you know, how I might have got played, or how I might have got robbed, or how I might have, you know, all the things that I've been through that I shield, that I'm embarrassed. I have to tell you those things because the more I tell you those things, the more I can tell you about my past, you'll tell me about your present. And then that's where the real work begins. Right? That's where with therapists, like these lessons are our form of therapy. This 120 is like a DSM-4 manual, you know? And we looking through these degrees to see what kind of devils people is dealing with, what kind of ailments they have, if they're utilizing the best part, the worst part, the poor part, you know, if they know how to maneuver through different worlds. Like, we're analyzing them through these lessons, and we're helping enhance their life through these lessons, through these manuals. This is a manual, and this is what we're helping people to do. But if you're not breaking down that layer and building a relationship with nobody, you're not really helping them.
Exactly.
You hindering them because what you're doing is you're teaching them how to hide that now even better. Because you couldn't take off your mask. Yeah. Now, it ain't for everybody to see you without your mask, or to take off your cape or your mask for everybody. But if I can't do that with somebody, I'm not teaching them. Yeah. If I don't feel that comfortable, because then they're not going to be comfortable with me. Yeah. And then what are we really building? We're not really building a relationship with each other.
Sandcastles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying, like, you know, it's
and not even with the pail and the bucket, just your hands. It ain't even a fancy sandcastle.
You really gotta build relationships with people. You know, and I've always been an advocate against, soon as somebody say that they interested and everything else, you just handing them stuff. Like, okay, learn about the Father. Here's mathematics. Here's the alphabet. You don't even know their middle name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know if they got siblings or not. You don't know where they live. Do they work? What their work history looks like? Do they go to school? You don't know none of that. But you just telling them about the Father. You know,
Yeah,
you're giving them mathematics and stuff.
To you.
Yeah. If a person's saying they want to study, they want to learn, what they're really asking is, I want brotherhood. I want sisterhood. I want a sense of family. But you have to be able to show them it doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
You have to utilize this brotherhood and sisterhood to build those relationships with others for the purpose of rebuilding communities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's our approach. It's our method. But sometimes people don't understand that that is what we're essentially doing. We're not just handing somebody something.
And we also have to be like comfortable to check one another. Like recently one of my brothers checked me, and he checked me hard, okay? And I didn't talk to him for like 2 or 3 days. And this particular brother, we talk like almost every day, you know? We build almost every day. And I was mad at how he said it to me. But we actually built today. And he's like, yo, when we're not functioning at our best and we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, we have to check one another. Because if we don't, then we're aiding to the detriment of the collective. And so that made me realize that and this is my brother for almost 20 years now. You know what I mean? Like, he been with me since I was a baby. You know, he's my big brother, you know? But I always looked at my relationship with him as like, oh, this is just my big brother. And he let me know, nah, like, we building a nation. You know what I mean? And as soon as what you're doing is going against that, I gotta let you know that. You know what I mean? Even if it's just a small, even if I just see you teetering off to the wrong direction, we still, this reality, this culture is a group collective. It takes all of us to manifest this, right? And so it's like, yesterday we built, but today, you know, he let me know. He's like, yo, you know, letting me know that how my poor choices hurt him. You know? Like, they physically hurt him. I'm his little sister. And when I make poor choices, that he feels hurt by those things. Because he thinks in his head, man, if this is my little sister and I spent all these years building with her, what's she been getting from me? You know, if she feels comfortable making dumb choices sometimes, you know? So the thing is, we have to build relationships like that with one another, where we are personally invested in the growth of each other. Sometimes a lot of us have personal investments in each other, but they're not for the growth. You know what I mean? And we don't care if we get a return or not. But we should all be caring about getting a return, right? Yeah. Because we're trying to build something. You know what I mean? And so when he said that, like, yo, you know, basically just reminding me that I have a responsibility to my people. You know, because sometimes I can think a little selfishly. You know, sometimes I just want to do what I want to do, right? Like every one of us, right? Yeah. But then it's like, man, now I have a great responsibility. You know, like, I'm not really in a position to be so selfish like that, because I have to be an example, you know, especially if I'm saying I'm this. Yeah. You know, and that's the great part about having brothers in this and sisters in this, because if they're your real brother or sister, they will let you know